Left Coast? What's up everyone, this is Austin from Left Coast Gaming. This week on Top 5,
The Ides of March are coming.
that famous Roman holiday most associated with the assassination of Julius Caesar. In its honor, it only seems right to present you with the top 5 traitors in video game history. Video games are no strangers to betrayal, and there are a lot of traitors to choose from. But these are the 5 that we here at Left Coast Gaming think deserve to make the cut.
It too brutally.
Disagree? Make sure to let us know in the comments. Without further ado, here they are, the top 5 traitors in video game history. Number 5. Typically the worst traitors are the ones that try to get you killed. However, that's not a requirement to make our top list. In fact, sometimes the worst traitor is the best friend who has no qualms about screwing you over constantly for their own personal gain. And thus, we give you Eric Sparrow from Tony Hawk's Underground. You start the game as just a regular guy, tearing up the streets of New Jersey with your friend Eric before you begin your quest to become a skating superstar. Eric's first act of betrayal comes in Tampa, where he forgets to sign you up for a Pro-Am contest in order to have less competition for himself. Despite this, you manage to get in, win the thing, and end up getting sponsored. Eric does as well, and eventually you travel to Hawaii with him in order to make a video that will impress your manager. You finally manage to make one, performing an epic trick over a flying helicopter with Eric filming the whole thing. You eagerly await the premiere of your video in Vancouver, only to find that Eric has edited the footage to make it look like he did the trick.
You weren't even in it, but Eric's part ruled. That was my trick in my spot.
What an asshole. Eric instantly goes pro, and you're forced to defeat him in the competition in order to go pro yourself.
Where's my footage?
Oh man, I couldn't bring myself to tell you. See, there was this thing at customs.
Lying secret.
Next, you travel to Moscow with your team, and for reasons unknown, reconcile with Eric. But the truce is short-lived, and when Eric drunkenly drives a tank into the side of a building, he bails and leaves you to take the blame. Total dick move. You get kicked off the team and stranded in Russia, eventually going home to your roots in New Jersey. Eric shows up with a brand new car, tons of sponsors, and loads of cash. Eventually, he challenges you to one last showdown, the price being the video of your epic trick from Hawaii.
Not this. Remember? Hawaii, building jump, helicopter. That was some sick footage. Too bad no one ever saw it.
You of course beat him and shame him and get the video back, thus ending the game. It's not the most gratifying revenge in history, however the developers must have realized that. Upon your second playthrough of the game, instead of the showdown, you simply lay out Eric with a haymaker and take what's rightfully yours. Now that's street justice. Number 4. In Dead Space, you play as Isaac Clarke, an engineer assigned to a crew responding to a distress call of the USG Ishimura. Also on the crew is Kendra Daniels, the computer expert. Right from the get-go, she's a bitch to pretty much everyone around her, and it's no surprise when she inevitably betrays you later in the game. The mission seems routine until you realize the entire population of the Ishimura has been turned into the nightmarish necromorphs. You get separated from the crew and must make your way through the ship with only your wits, your plasma cutter, and occasional guidance from Kendra through the comlink in your rig. Your goal becomes tracking down the marker, an ancient alien artifact that creates the necromorphs from dead bodies. Along the way, Kendra plants seeds of doubts about Hammond, the leader of the mission, who she claims knows more about the mysterious marker than he's letting on.
What the hell were you thinking? Were you trying to get us killed?
I just saved our asses, Miss Daniels. If we had aborted at that speed and distance, we'd have smashed right into the side of the Ishimura. Now settle down, let's get to work.
Eventually you find the marker just in time for Kendra to reveal herself as a government agent tasked with retrieving it. She tells you the whole story, that the marker was actually made from man from alien technology and placed on the planet by the government to test its effects. She thanks you for finding it and promptly leaves you to die a horrible death.
See you around. Or maybe not.
But of course you manage to stop her and confront her again, and the disappointment of not getting to kill her yourself is countered by watching her gruesome demise at the hands, or tentacles, of the hive mind, who dispatches her in a violent and gratifying manner. Despite knowing the horrors the mission was due to face before they arrived, and the fact that she leaves you to die, Kendra doesn't make it to the top of our list purely because she was a raging bitch the entire time, and betrayal at some point in the game was all but expected from the likes of her. Number 3. When it was released, Bioshock was hailed as one of the greatest games of the generation. Its unique design, enemies, power, and story made for one of the best gaming experiences to date. But it was its twist ending and major betrayal which made it truly memorable. You play as Jack, a man who survives a plane crash in the ocean and discovers the underwater utopia of Rapture, Upon arriving, the utopia quickly reveals itself to be a dystopia, a city in disarray, populated by masked and mutated lunatics and huge lumbering monsters. From the outset, you're linked up with Atlas, a citizen of Rapture who guides you via radio communication.
I'm Atlas, and I aim to keep you alive. Now keep on.
Atlas pleads with Jack to help reunite him with his family so they might escape the horrors of the city together. It seems that Atlas is the only other sane person in Rapture, so Jack obliges and follows his lead. You eventually make it to the submarine where Atlas's family waits, only to have it explode in front of you. As the sound of Atlas crying reaches you from over the shortwave, you're overcome by grief for the poor man, and when he vows revenge on Andrew Ryan, you're more than happy to help him. By the end of the game, you feel a strong bond with Atlas. He's been there with you the whole time, guiding you along as you help each other. You are all each other has at that point, and the sound of his weeping echoes in your skull as you continue towards your goal.
Get out! Get out and get to Arcadia! Jesus Christ!
And that's what makes his betrayal hurt so much. You finally confront Andrew Ryan only to have him reveal that you are no stranger to the city. You were born here, brainwashed at a young age to obey commands given to you with the phrase, "Would you kindly?"
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
It is only then you realize that you've been Atlas's puppet the entire time. After killing Ryan, Atlas tells you his true identity, the criminal Frank Fontaine. He reveals his master plan, with you as the centerpiece, taunts you a bit, and then tries to kill you. Of course, in the end, you manage to exact your revenge and kill him, but even after he's dead, you still have this hollow feeling inside your soul. You had been duped into caring for a man that didn't exist, grieving for his wife and child who didn't exist. All the memories you had of a past, of a home, and a family outside of Rapture didn't exist, and it was all because Frank Fontaine used you in what he refers to as his longest con. Now that's betrayal. Cold, calculated, patient betrayal. Number 2. You probably saw this one coming from a mile away. When I asked the Left Coast crew about the top traitors in gaming history, the first answer everyone gave me was Wheatley from Portal 2. It's a bit curious why Wheatley ranks so high on people's list of traitors, given that most of the time when he's your adversary, he's not actually trying to kill you. To find out why he ranks so high, we must go back to the beginning of Portal 2. You meet Wheatley within minutes of starting the single-player campaign, and right away he has you cracking up with his neurotic demeanor.
And it's not out of the question that you might have a very minor case of serious brain damage. But don't be alarmed, alright? Although if you do feel alarmed, try to hold on to that feeling, because that is the proper reaction to being told that you've got brain damage.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a more instantly likable character in all of gaming, and all coming from what basically amounts to a talking robotic eyeball. Wheatley guides you along for the first third of the game as you once again deal with the sadistic AI Gladys, eventually coming up with a plan to take her down by replacing her in the mainframe with him. And that's where it all goes wrong. The story of Wheatley is a tragic one, not only because a hilarious companion gets turned into an evil, uber-powerful monster, but because it's not entirely his fault. There's something about Aperture's mainframe that turns AIs bad, and that, paired with Wheatley being programmed as a moron, ultimately makes him a victim of his creators. But victim or no, Wheatley's turn to the dark side hurts more than the others because of how much you like him. And when you do get your revenge and exile him into space, it's not as sweet as the others. Once disconnected from the mainframe and drifting aimlessly in the void, we see that Wheatley is back to normal, humorous and apologetic, which makes all of it even more sad.
I'm in space.
I know you are, mate. Yeah, we're both in space.
Number 1. And finally, the number 1 traitor in gaming history. After the previous 4 traitors, who could possibly top our list? For number 1, we decided to look a bit outside the box and back in time, literally. That's right, we're talking about the classic Chrono Trigger. But who is a traitor in Chrono Trigger? Sure, you could say that Magus, the antagonist for the first half of the game, could be thought of as a traitor for his attempts to summon the world-destroying Lavos. But to be a true traitor, you must first be a friend, and Magus is no friend. So who is it? Well, gamers, the traitor is you, the player. Now, stay with me here. If you've never played Chrono Trigger, you might be confused about this, so let's do a quick recap. Chrono Trigger is an RPG for the Super Nintendo. It is not only an amazing game, but well ahead of its time. Chrono Trigger was one of the first games where your decisions throughout the plot actually affect the outcome. There are over a dozen endings depending on the choices you make. One of the major choices revolve around a main character named Frog. Frog is a tragic figure through and through. He was once a squire named Glenn who protected the kingdom of Guardia with his friend and mentor Cyrus. Guardia is attacked by Magus, who kills Cyrus and transforms Glenn into Frog. For 10 years, Frog trains and plots his revenge, waiting for the day when he can confront Magus and avenge his fallen friend. During the course of the game, that time comes, and that is the moment when the player is confronted with a choice. You can allow Frog, who has been a loyal ally to you throughout the game, to kill Magus, thus fulfilling his promise of vengeance, or you can spare Magus and allow him to join your party. By sparing him, you not only deny Frog of his revenge, but then force him to travel and fight alongside the man who killed his best friend, which in many ways is a lot more cruel than any traitor who simply tries to kill you. The reason this ranks as number 1 on our list is because it's completely up to you, the player. You don't have to betray Frog if you don't want to. Now, most traitors betray their compatriots for personal gain, and this is no different. Adding Magus to your party gives you a powerful magic user who definitely comes in handy for the rest of the game. Choosing to forego that in order to let Frog have his revenge makes you an honorable teammate. Choosing to improve your party by denying Frog his vengeance, well, that just makes you a total dick. And that is why you are the number 1 traitor in the history of gaming. Well, there you have it, the top 5 video game traitors of all time. Agree or disagree? Let us know in the comments or on Twitter at Left Coast Gaming. Until next time, take care, traitors.